Let me turn it over to the incredible Jake Fleshner, the Jakey Bakey. Jake, you here?
I am here, and happy Friday. Thank you, Amelia. I hope everyone is having
welcome everybody. Do we start this?
Here at 7 a.m. Pacific
All
time.
right, welcome everybody. He didn't pay the 2-minute drill, or did he pay? I didn't see. What happened, Matt? All righty. Anyway, thank you, everybody. It's BYOQ training. Welcome to our Friday trainings. We've been doing these over 22 years. 22 years we've been doing these trainings. And today's very simple. You ask the questions, load up the questions here. Everybody in IG, TikTok, everybody load up the questions. You bring the questions, I'll bring the answer. Welcome to Friday training. There we go. Thank you, Jake. All right, we're excited. First question for today. When you talk about the levels of intention, what does that mean? Well, first of all, let me take a step back. I have created a mathematical equation of luck. And the mathematical equation of luck is what we pay attention to and plus what we give intention to equals the coincidences in our lives. And that's why student of our calendar is so important. And our calendar is so important is because we need to put things in the context of now, in the context of today. And I can't tell you how many people don't even look at the activity they have planned, let alone look at the activity they don't have planned, let alone look at what they're going to do for their recovery and access, meaning their sleep. They don't even look at it. So they don't even pay attention to the activities that they've been gifted with. They're present of the present. And without looking at the what, how are we going to get to the who, the how, and the now? And how are you going to apply the why? And so first, before we even get to levels of intention, I want people to think about, how are you utilizing your time? How are you utilizing the activity that you put into this time? Do you look at your time? Do you look at the activity you have planned, don't have planned in your sleep? Do you look at the activity you get paid for and the activity you don't get paid for? If you're not even looking at it, how can you effectuate the mathematical equation of luck? Don't you want to join the community, the collective consciousness of lucky people? Well, you got to start with paying attention to what you want, who you can inspire, who you can help, who can inspire you, and who can help you, and how best to get it done. You will not get to the how unless you know what and pay attention to what. And so utilizing some sort of calendaring, some sort of repository of time for activity you have planned, activity you don't have planned in your sleep is essential. And I suggest you use lenses of productivity, accessibility, and gratitude when you are at least looking at the what, the who, and the how. Now, the second step is intention. If you actually have coherence and remember to look at what you're doing during the day, these activities, now you have to put your intention in. And this is where so many of my coaching clients get confused. They'll get on and say, Dave, I'm doing everything you told me, everything I can. That's not enough. That's just the first level of intention. So you're at least paying attention to the activities, but you're just giving it a lower vibration, a lower frequency of action, the lowest that exists here in the pragmatic world of doing. And you can do things all day long, but if you're doing the wrong things, saying the wrong things, thinking the wrong things, believing the wrong things, and feeling the wrong things, you actually may be accelerating in the wrong direction or creating more resistance and feeling stuck. You got to do much more in the levels of intention than just do. The next level of intention, the higher frequency of action, is sound. You got to speak it. You got to speak it with mantras. You have to speak it to other people. Everyone has heard we have to speak it into existence. The second level of intention is to say. So not only must you do what, who, and how, you must say what, who, and how as much as you can, as many times as you can, to as many people as you can, including in the context of saying is asking. Actually asking in person, on the phone, via email, media, social media, traditional media. Ask, ask, ask. It's not just what you do, it's what you say. The third level of intention, after we pay attention and focus in on the activities we have planned, don't have planned in our sleep, activities we get paid for, activities we don't get paid for, and we start doing them, saying them, now we have to elevate that frequency, that vibration, to the level of thought. The speed of thought moves far faster than the speed of time, the speed of sound, and the speed of action. You can't outrun time, and you cannot outrun thought. You can't out think. You know, what you say will not move as fast as what you think. So we have to put ourselves in the right mindset in order to effectuate intention. We have to think the right thoughts. We have to use the cancel, clear, connect in order to effectuate clearing the interference between us and what already exists to allow it to come through us. So 3 of the levels of intention are what we do, what we say, and what we think. But they have to be aligned with the what, the who, and the how. They have to be utilized in some sort of repository of activity. You're given 1,440 minutes of activity a day, 24 hours a day of activity. Are you paying attention to it? Are you giving it at least the 3 levels of intention of what you do, say, and think? The 4th level is one in studying, Earl Nightingale, Dr. Wayne Dyer, of course, Napoleon Hill. It's the level that we have of awareness of how much we are working against ourselves with ego-based consciousness, and it's called belief. A higher level of thought is when we believe it, when we have a desire that we must be what we can think about, do about, and say about. The 4th level of intention is what we believe. At what level do you believe? How much interference do you have between you and the truth, your potential? At what level are you believing what you do, say, think, and believe? At what level? And in the pragmatic world, I know when someone truly believes because they guarantee what they do, say, think, and believe. They guarantee it. They can articulate a quantitative value to exceed what they're asking for in any business situation. They show up by their actions, their words, their thoughts, and their beliefs. When they tell you they're going to do something, they have ascertained all 4 of those, and they are aligned with what they promise. Belief is a level of congruency with your promise. Promise to others and promise of faith, promise of coherence, to remember what you promised and to do, say, think, and believe what you promised. It's in congruency to that. Now, I live by those 4 levels of intention. I've utilized the mathematical equation of luck. I want everyone to join that collective consciousness of lucky people. It's such a great world to live in. But just recently, over the last 2 years,
Seconds of the coffee.
Sorry about that. Can you mute? But beyond that, the 4 levels of intention, most recently in the last couple of years, is a 5th level of intention. And the 5th level of intention is feeling, intuition. And this causes a great conflict because I meet so many people, coach so many people, trust so many people that they do the right things. They say the right things. They think the right things. They believe the right things, but it's in conflict with their energy, their intuition. And so they don't know how to reconcile that. They don't know how to reconcile the feeling. So many people have talked about emotions, how we feel, the energy in motion, whether it be the currency of money, which is an object of energy that we put into the flow to get what we want. It's an emotion, as well as faith, believing there's something bigger than you that loves you more than your mom loves you. We have to at least acknowledge, acquire the knowledge, or raise our awareness to how we feel. When I feel something that is not in alignment with what I'm doing, saying, thinking, and believing, when I feel something is not in alignment, I don't try to overanalyze it. I don't waste my time creating more resistance to it by trying to figure it out, because logic works within the realm of thought. And I know that feeling is moving at a different frequency than thought, a higher frequency, a faster vibration. So what I do is stop. When I'm feeling something that's not aligned with what I'm doing, saying, thinking, and believing, I stop and I allow that feeling to align with, to create synergy, to create a supplementary energy to what I'm doing, saying, thinking, and believing, and I allow the adjustment to happen. If you can have the discipline, and one of my great friends, Marshall Falk, always says, Dave, you either suffer from discipline or you suffer from regret. I will tell you, if you try to overcome, overwhelm, overachieve, if you try to go around, under, or through, lie to, manipulate, and cheat yourself by trying to figure out some feeling and misanalyze something that moves at such a speed and such a different frequency than thought, if you try to use logic to change the way you feel, you will fail, F-A-I-L, if you try to change the way you F-E-E-L. What you need to do is stop and breathe. Remind, remember, and recollect what you're connected to and through, and allow the adjustment to occur in what you do, say, think, believe. That will align the feeling. So 5 levels of intention, which are completely worthless if you haven't even paid attention to what you want, who you can inspire, who can inspire you, and how to get it done by being a student of time, a student of calendar. Don't just pay attention and look at it, which most people don't even do. And then they wonder why they get nothing done. But instead, not only pay attention to this repository of time, activity you have planned, don't have planned, and sleep, activity you get paid for and you don't get paid for, but give it your 5 levels of intention. Work those 5 levels of intention 7 days a week. Enjoy working those consistently every day. Enjoy doing it persistently without quit, with the desire that you must be what you can be, pursuing your truth of what you do, say, think, believe, and feel. And if you do that, I promise you, you will join an elite group of people, the lucky ones. This is a mathematical, quantifiable way to create the coincidences that you want in your life. And those who can create the coincidences that they want are considered lucky. Not the coincidences other people want from you, not the coincidences that you don't want, not the coincidences that are missing, but the coincidences that you want. Attention plus the 5 levels of intention equals coincidence. What a great question to round up the day, get us started, get us motivated so that we can clear the interference and become inspired. Speaking of inspiration, Jakey Bakey, who's up next on Clubhouse?
Let's go. Let's go.
Let's go, G. Lundy.
Let's go. I freaking love it, man. I love it. I love it. I love it. Energy going up here in this space. Come on. Let's do it. Let's do it. All right. We got next up, we got someone here on Clubhouse. Let's go with Carol Cavelli. Carol, if you could please unmute yourself, and then what question do you have for Dave? All right, Dave. Let's move to a question on Instagram while more people join. If you want to ask a question, just feel free to back channel me. Dave, question here on Instagram. What advice would you give someone who's new to getting into real estate and wholesale?
Well, first of all, if you're new and getting into anything, the first piece of advice is ask for help. Find someone that sits in the situation that you want to be in, specifically in the area that you want to be in when you're talking about real estate, not just the area of geography, but the area of business, commercial, residential, multi-unit, whatever it may be. But the first step is to find somebody that sits in the situation that you want to be in and ask them for help. Go ahead and allow yourself to be a mentee of that person with 30 or 40 years of experience, or whatever it may be in context to what you want to do. The very first step is to ask for help. And so utilizing what you want, find who can help you and who you can help, and create a learning curve, an accelerated learning curve for yourself so that you don't have to pay the dummy tax. There's so many people out there, successful people out there, abundant people out there with open minds, open hearts, and open hands that are willing to give you directions to where you want to go. You don't have to figure it out yourself. Allow people to give you those directions. Leverage the years and years of dummy tax and experience and situational knowledge that are out there become an investment of someone that's already there by asking for help. All right, Jake, I'll take another one online as you line up people to give us questions on Clubhouse, waking everybody up. Here's a question online. What do you mean by it's not what you say, it's what you hear? This is a huge issue because so many people are talking to people and not listening for what they want to know. And part of the reason I do BYOQ is to understand what people are listening for, not to talk to people. And understanding it's not what I say, even when I answer what they want to know, but it's what they hear. And you can see this a lot of times with content that's created, especially online and social media, that you may have a certain intention of what that video or quote or whatever may represent, and people may hear something completely different. The first time I heard this quote of "it's not what you say, it's what you hear" was from Lou Holtz, the coach of Notre Dame, the football coach at Notre Dame. As he was speaking to his team, he winked at me and said, "It's not what I say, it's what they hear." And so a very difficult thing to do is to speak to everyone. And the reason that is that 10% of the people are at your frequency. So no matter what you say, they are going to respond positively to what you say, and they're going to hear it. Another 10% will never hear what you say. They're only going to hear what they think of you, and they're on a different frequency. So they can't even hear what you say, just as if I was transmitting on a radio at 97.1 and they only are tuned in to 103.7. They're not going to hear me. Now, through consistent, persistent messaging, through consistent, persistent branding, through consistent, persistent practice of saying, you can aggregate the other 80%. You can talk to different frequencies. So the more you explain things, the more you hit 97.1, 97.5, 98.4, and you can start aggregating and building an audience, a community, and a consciousness of that frequency that you're talking with. And so this is one of the most difficult things to train new speakers on, is that they get onto a stage with 100 people and 10 people tell them that was amazing and great. Well, those 10 people, if you're a beginning speaker, are just at your frequency. So no matter what you say, they would come up and tell you why it was great. In fact, I always joke around and say, I could come on and say for a half an hour, and 10% of the people will be like, oh, that was amazing. I love the way you taught patience. I love the way you taught, consistency. I love the way you taught repetition. I love the way you taught branding, by just standing there with all that courage, humility, and vulnerability of just saying the. 10% of the people, if I got on stage and spoke from God himself with a burning bush or the 10 commandments in my hand, 10% of the people would be like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Thou shalt not steal, or thou shalt not murder. That's stupid. He's an idiot. 10% of the people, no matter what genius I said, I could quote Einstein, I could quote Napoleon Hill. You're an idiot. It's the 80% through the consistent, persistent practice of saying, so that more and more people hear, tuning in from different stations to resonate what we say. And so when you put out those videos, when you put out those quotes, when you stand on a stage, remember, and recollect that there's always going to be 10% of the haters out there. There's always going to be 10% of the lovers. I need to do my job by getting better at communicating effectively on the stage, on videos, with quotes, whatever it is I'm doing, to be consistent and persistent in allowing people to hear what I say. And so great question. All right, Jake, do we got someone on Clubhouse coming online?
We do. We've got Blaine here to ask a question. And quickly resetting the room. We're here at the Breakfast with Champions, 7 a.m. Pacific time, 10 a.m. Eastern time. Welcome, everybody. David is doing a BYOQ. Bring your questions. Dave has the answers for you. So if you have any questions, please feel free to use the back channel. And if you have any other questions, it's just david@dmeltzer.com, david@dmeltzer.com. Let's also take a quick second, follow the people next to you, follow the people on stage, and let's use that plus bar to invite everybody, your friends, your family, anyone that you think would benefit from the best room here on Clubhouse, the Breakfast with Champions. So with that in mind, let's bring up Blaine. Blaine, if you could please unmute yourself and then feel free to ask your question.
Good morning. My question for David is, if you were teaching a class to every high schooler in America, what would you call it and what would you teach?
I would teach how to be happy class. And I would teach 4 values: gratitude, which would give perspective to people; empathy, which would give peace and forgiveness; accountability, which would give control; and effective communication, which would allow for the inspired actions of clearing the interference between the all-power, omniscient, and all-knowing in themselves, knowing that they're happy, healthy, wealthy, and worthy, and help them figure out what they're doing to interfere with their happiness. I would then teach 5 daily practices, every day with coherence. So utilizing coherence, the ability to remember the 5 daily practices and actually to utilize them. And in that class of happiness, how to be happy, how to make a lot of money, help a lot of people, and have a lot of fun in your life, I would teach them to look at their personal values, their experiential values, their giving and receiving values every single day, daily, taking into consideration their intermediate and long-term objectives or milestones, and adjusting accordingly every day by not being a hypocrite, by not worrying about changing their mind, by realizing that by changing my mind, I'm learning and growing and accelerating. I should not have FOPO, fear of other people's opinion, that I changed my mind. This is an asset, not a liability. And I would teach them through knowing their what, that they then can effectuate a connectivity of inspiration by inspiring others with their what, and seeking help for those that can inspire them to achieve their what daily, taking into consideration the intermediate and long-term objectives and milestones. We've already beaten the dead horse of the how of being a student of the calendar, which I spent the first 15 minutes talking about. Attention plus intention equals the coincidences we want by studying the calendar. And I would create and make sure there was systematically ways to cohere, to remember to be a student of our calendar and actually do it. I would teach prioritization, knowing your now. Prioritization is the antidote to procrastination. Procrastination is the greatest interference between your happiness and you, the ability to make money, help people, and have fun. I would teach prioritization to utilize it as that antidote to procrastination, but also as an antidote to feeling overwhelmed. So many people today feel so overwhelmed. I feel blessed to be overwhelmed. It just means I got more than enough to do, more than enough places to go, more than enough people to talk to. It's just proving what I teach. There's more than enough of everything for everyone. But if we don't know how to prioritize, we can't take advantage of the overwhelmness, of the abundance, of the more than enoughness. And so prioritization would be a key component in the happiness class that I would teach. And then finally, utilizing the ability to understand passion, purpose, and profitability, to understand what most people waste sometimes their entire life in search of a why that they already have. We know our why. We need to apply our why. We need to remind ourselves through the what, the who, the how, and the now, what we are: happy, healthy, wealthy, and worthy. We need to figure out together, what are we doing to interfere with it daily by utilizing, remembering these practices and remembering the values of gratitude, forgiveness, accountability, and effective communication in order to facilitate the aggregation, the acceleration, the compounding of what we want, who we can help, who can help us, how to best get it done, and doing it now. I coach some of the biggest leaders in the world who can't get 5 things done in a day because they don't utilize the daily practices and the values. They're so far in their way, creating interference through ego, a need to be right, a need to be separate, a need to be superior, a need to be inferior, with an imposter syndrome, with a worthiness issue, a need to be angry and frustrated, a need to be guilty and resentful and offended. These are the leaders that are wasting our time, these talented individuals that if they just would utilize the values in the daily practices and become intelligent followers, that they would expand and accelerate far past what they think they have control of. I would absolutely teach a happiness course to help people make money, help more people, and have more fun by utilizing these 4 values of gratitude, forgiveness, accountability, and effective communication, and the 5 daily practices. I teach this every day. I'm more than happy to send these out for anyone. Look at my bio, get my email, david@dmeltzer.com. I will send them to you. Utilize them, practice coherence. And if you just have to start with 1 value, then start with gratitude and just say thank you before you go to bed and when you wake up. I got a 14-day gratitude challenge. Just start there. See at what strength level you are in coherence. Take something that takes 0.1 seconds a day and is free and see if you can say it for 14 straight days. I'll give you exercises to expand and expand on that so that you can accelerate the process. Coherence, learn through these values and daily practices how to make a lot of money, help a lot of people, and have a lot of fun. All right, Jake, thank you, Blaine, for that question. I'll take another.
Your passion today, brother. I'm loving your passion today.
Thank you. Hey, Glenn, you got a question for me?
Oh my gosh, I always have questions for you. So, because I love the advice that you shared, you obviously, there's a lot going on now with technology, with Bitcoins and NFTs and all of these new types of currencies and so on and so forth. And I know that you dabble a little bit in there, as well as some of the people in your circles. So my question to you would be, if we are someone that is looking to learn a little bit in that space, how would you suggest we tread water as we're going into that particular arena?
Excellent question. So number one, with any of these new arenas, platforms, especially if they concern prospecting or investing, the first step is to know your own timing or risk tolerance, or else you're wasting your time. So as Web 1, 2, and 3 have evolved, there was so many issues that people wasted their time on because they never took the first step to know what they wanted. Meaning, what is my timing and risk tolerance? I use the example of, people ask, what does that mean? Well, for example, if you knew your timing and risk tolerance of buying a lottery ticket, that you're okay spending $2 for a 1 in a billion chance, when you lose in the lottery, you're not disappointed because it's aligned with your timing and risk tolerance. You knew that, you would find out on Saturday at 8 p.m. whether or not you won $500 million with your $2 investment or $2 prospect. But you knew that there was a 1 in a billion chance to win the $500 million. And you were okay with it, and it fell within the context and is aligned with it. So in order to understand these platforms, these opportunities of prospecting and investing, number one, you need to know your timing and risk tolerance of entering that market, of learning the market, of learning the market makers, of learning the margins that are available. And the best way to do that is to crawl before you walk, before you run. Find someone that's sitting in the situation that you want to be in with NFTs, blockchain, crypto, whatever it may be, and then utilize their mentorship in practice. Lower the bar. When I started investing with Celsius Network, they're a crypto bank that pays 10% on your dollar. Stable coin or Tether is tethered to the actual currency of a dollar. And, it was so exciting to me. I wanted to put a lot of money into it. And my mentor, Alex Machinsky, who's the CEO of Celsius Network, who created Voice over IP, who's an extraordinary entrepreneur, 3 unicorns in his life, 8 startups that are highly successful, a billionaire himself who put $150 million into the deal and then let everybody jump on the bus with him, who has an attitude that's aligned with mine, which is you can do well by doing good. You can do well by doing good. You can be kind to your future self by doing good deeds. Yesterday was the random act of kindness day. And I'm like, I'm more into the consistent act of kindness day, which is every day, every single day, consistently being kind, consistently doing good to do well. But when I got involved with Celsius Network, I started with $100. I put $100 in, used Alex's time, wisdom, and experience to help coach me through how best to utilize the first crypto bank, which is now 30 billion, the fastest bank to 30 billion in management, the fastest, we paid more interest than Bank of America last year to its depositors. Learning these things only are worthwhile if you know your timing and risk tolerance, and then ask for help, lower the bar, crawl before you walk, before you run, make sure you get that alignment with your timing and risk tolerance in every investment and every prospect that you make, whether it's NFTs and cryptos and real estate and anything else that's out there that you're interested in, will be one that is successful if you have that alignment, whether you lose money in the lottery or not. And I think this is a very critical way to build wealth, to create a legacy when you're strategic about knowing what you want, who, and how of your investments and prospecting by utilizing this methodology. And it's worked for me over the years to help me recover when I wasn't doing this and lost over $100 million. This was one of the mechanisms that has helped me really build great wealth and success by understanding first my timing and risk tolerance, then seeking help, then lowering the bar to crawl before I walk, before I run. Mr. Lundy, does that sound fair?
Sounds more than fair, my man. That was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I love it.
I love you. Enjoy your breakfast. And I just love being here. Let's all flash your mics for Glenn Lundy, because none of us would be here without Glenn Lundy hooking us all up with the Breakfast of Champions. I'm blessed to be there at the very beginning when he came up with the idea. And this man did what everybody else wanted to do. He took the ball 6 days a week, 6 hours a day, and rolled with it to empower all of us. Mr. Lundy, I love you and thank you.
Thank you, my man. I love you as well. And we are just getting started, brother. Just getting started. Thank you so much.
You got it. No doubt. Jake, I'm going to take another question online, and then you have someone in the wings waiting.
Yes, Frank Villa will be ready when you get back.
Awesome. All righty. Someone's asking here, you did a car flipping video to talk about things being pre-sold. What does that mean? Look, one of the easiest ways to make money today, because we have technology and access to the market makers and the margins, because we have that, there's so many things that you can find and have them pre-sold. So you're reversing and re-engineering how to make money. I talk about all the time, I took $1,000, found the fastest selling car for $3,000, went out and offered 50 people $1,000 cash for that, and was told to F off by the majority of those people, or ignored by the majority of the people, but yet one of them said yes, and I basically had a $2,000 margin that was pre-sold, because I knew those cars are the fastest selling cars for $3,000. And I did the same thing at $6,000, $9,000. Now, I know everybody's out there going, isn't there laws in it? Yes, there are creative ways determined upon what state you live in that you can sell more than 5 cars a year or 3 cars a year. There's a variety of different mechanisms. And guess what? I asked for mentorship. I went to a car broker that had been around 30 years and said, hey, this is what I want to do. How can I best facilitate? And he helped me. So don't be a hater. Don't be a resistor. Find a way, have an open mind, open heart, and open hands. I go out once a month with my son, who makes more money than most people, and he's 11. Why? Because we go out to estate sales, yard sales, and garage sales right when they open. We look at all the items. We pick out things that we feel would sell. We then go home and look them up on the internet and see how quickly they sell and for how much. So we know the market, we know who the market maker is, if it's eBay or Craigslist or whoever, and we know the margins already. And then we wait till the end of the estate sale, the garage sale. Affluent people, they're really good at creating a perceived value, but then when it doesn't sell, the reality of the perceived value sets in and it exceeds quantitatively the value of what they're selling because they don't want to put it back in their garage. And it's not just hundreds of dollars, it's thousands of dollars of products. All of a sudden, and we've all been there, oh my God, I can't believe I paid $5,000 for this and nobody wants it. I can't even give it away. Well, if they were more interested than interesting and they did the work to find out if it's pre-sold, what the market makers and the margins are, they could go like my son and I at the very end when that emotional aspect comes in and depreciates the value of their perceived value because there's no market of people driving by coming up with that kind of cash. But there's a huge market online because you have such a vast display of spectrum of customers. And so we go out and as that emotional side sets in, we offer free $100 for thousands of dollars worth of items. And quantitatively, like I said, my 11-year-old son once a month spends time with his father on a Saturday or a Sunday, about 4 or 5 hours we spend together, having an enormously fun time, making money, helping people, and having fun. And yes, a portion of everything we make, he gives to his favorite charity. Sometimes it's his own little league and he's his own sponsor of his own little league. Sometimes it's the Unstoppable Foundation that I'm the chairman of. Sometimes it's Junior Achievement, which is, I'm the chief chancellor of. He's personally invested into charity, into giving, into tithing at a very young age. All of these lessons are under the context of understanding the market makers, and the margins of pre-sold items. And we're blessed to be able to access those items. Be creative, be more interested than interesting. You can make a ton of money, help a ton of people, and have a ton of fun if you understand the concept of pre-sold and understand the concept of market makers and margins. All right, Jakey Bakey, reset the room and bring on my boy, Frank.
Let's do it. Thank you so much, Dave. 7:37 a.m. Pacific time here at the Breakfast with Champions here on Clubhouse. We've got incredible questions that have already been asked so far on the Zoom training that Dave's been doing for over 22 years here on Clubhouse, TikTok, Instagram, basically everywhere. So if you want to follow up or you don't have enough time here to ask a question, just feel free to reach out to David@dmeltzer.com, David@dmeltzer.com. Let's also take a quick second, use that plus button, invite your friends, family, anyone that you think would benefit from this conversation. So Dave, next up, as you mentioned, we got the man, Frank. So Frank, if you could please unmute yourself and welcome to the room.
Good morning. Thank you, Jake. Thank you, Clubhouse, and especially thank you, David. So little quick background, and my question has to do with money. So those who don't know me, I'm a recovered heroin addict. I was addicted to heroin and opiates for over 17 years. A lifetime of trauma. I got diagnosed with PTSD and bipolar, and I overcame everything holistically. It took me 3 years of relapsing before I got a year of sobriety. So one thing that I had to give up and was money, because every time I touched it, I relapsed. But I finally got 5 years of sobriety, and now it's time to up my money. I just found out my credit score is like 400. I only got like $400 in the bank. Yeah, where does one start with financial literacy, and where do I go? Not really about the credit, but how do I bring up cash? Because that's going to be the only way to really bring it up.
Yeah, so many people, including I, needed help with financial literacy. Imagine, being a multimillionaire with access to everything and losing everything and realize the reason you lost everything is you weren't financially literate. You didn't know what you didn't know. You carried your life because of financial success and sales, thinking that you knew everything about finance. Just because you could sell and make a lot of money doesn't mean you understand financial literacy or how to create a legacy or how to build wealth, especially with the emotional aspects that are involved in the energy of money, the object of energy that we put into the flow to get what we want. And a lot of times we have not only the pragmatic side to learn in financial literacy, but the emotional side. just like eating. Any of these ego-based consciousness of survival, which money is definitely represented with, we have difficulty with. And so, I've created a team of people to help with financial literacy with Hall of Fame running back Marshall Faulk, who joins us on here, and Tyree. So please, anyone that needs help, not only with the pragmatic aspects, but the emotional aspects of the object of energy that we put into the flow to get what we want, financial literacy, understanding the directions to get you to where you want to be, even if you have a 400 credit score and $400 in your account. I can't tell you how many people have $0 and zero credit scores and make it all back and more once they shift their paradigm and perspective and they ask for help from people that are already there. And so in that abundant philosophy, though, some of the things to look at, read and study Einstein, right? Compound interest is a key component of financial literacy. Understanding the aggregate effect of money, not only the financial aggregate effect, but the emotional aggregate effect of paying attention and giving intention to making money, and not just putting all your money in a certain prospective emotional bucket and then wondering why you didn't win the lottery. So there's all these different tools, and please reach out to me personally, david@dmeltzer.com, and we will give you a pragmatic program and an emotional program that will shift your entire perspective of abundance. Most people that don't have a lot because they're either living in a world of not enough, where everything happens to them as a victim, or a world of just enough, where they're buying things they don't need to impress people they don't like. And they need to shift that into a world that is not a zero-sum game, where if they receive, someone else loses, or it's a quid pro quo negotiation of you got to give to receive, or some other sort of negotiation of scarcity and interference. But instead, a value add game where everything that you receive, Frank, is adding on to the universe. You are appreciating and adding value with everything you receive. You're acknowledging it by giving it away, even losing it, or getting it manipulated away or stolen from you. But the key component is you have faith of the more than enough, that it's going to refill a bigger vessel each time the process of appreciation, acknowledgement, and asking takes place. And this is called the flow. The flow is where this emotional and pragmatic reconciliation occurs with the emotion, the energy emotion of what? Money. The object of energy that we put into the flow to get what we want. We teach you to buy things to make you happy. Money won't buy you happiness. It won't buy you love, but it will allow you to shop. And we will teach you to shop for the right things, for the right reasons, and allow yourself to live in the world of more than enough, in a value add universe, not a zero-sum game. So reach out to me, david@dmeltzer.com, Marshall Faulk, Tyree, myself. We'd love to help you with this financial literacy. It was very embarrassing for me to realize, as I was running the most notable sports agency in the world, that I was financially illiterate. And that's why I lost over $100 million and went bankrupt years and years ago, is because I did not ask for help. I did not realize or have the awareness of my own financial illiteracy. Great question. I appreciate your humility and vulnerability of it, being and illuminating who you are and what you've done. This is a great step in the success and happiness that you'll have. So thank you very much for being a part of this community, as everyone else acknowledges that as well. So thank you. I'm going to take, Jake, another question online, and then we'll bring up someone else. You have someone else in the waiting wings?
Yes, Annette will be next here on Clubhouse.
Perfect. So here's a question. When using the 3-no rule while closing, at what point do you stop asking open-ended questions and shift gears towards closing? Well, first of all, 3-no rule is in a situation where you have a go, no-go plan and you're at a step where somebody needs to give you a yes or a no. It doesn't need to be the close. It could just be a predetermined, aligned, agreed upon go, no-go step. And I am a big proponent, as everyone knows, of the go, no-go plan, because 80% of our time is not spent selling. 80% of our time is managing and developing a vision, which creates and needs and requires a go, no-go plan, where each step of the way we continue to continue that alignment and agreement with a go, no go plan. So the 3-no rule is when we have an agreed upon date, time, etc., for either a step towards closing or the actual closing. And the 3-no rule says that I will adhere to what we agree upon. So let's say that we agreed upon having a phone call Tuesday at 3 p.m. and I forget. That's 1 no. See, I believe in the universal no. I believe everything happens to promote and protect me. And so I'm going to aggregate the 5 levels of intention of doing, saying, thinking, believing, and feeling things. And if I somehow forgot to call, that's a pretty big no. We reschedule to 3 p.m. on Friday. The other person has a flat tire. Boom, no. Now I got 2 no's. The third time, we reschedule for Monday at 3 p.m. I call and the person tells me, you know what, this isn't a good time. That's the third no. When we get to a 3-no, in the context of a go, no go plan, whether it's the intermediate context or the ending, the closing, does not matter. On the 3rd no, for whatever reason, universal no, whether it's your fault, their fault, your commitment, their commitment, whether it's an actual no, you know, not interested at this time or not interested at all. On the 3rd no, I always have a transition statement of, hey, this is obviously not a good time. It's not the right place, time, emotion, or value. When you're ready, I'd love to accommodate anything that I can do to be of service. Let me know, and walk away. Now, 50% of the time or so, and please, as always, a caveat to, you know, my statistics. One of the only statistics I love is 99% of statistics are made up. So somewhere in the middle, 50% or so of the people will never call you back. 50% or so of the people will actually call you back and tell you that they want to move on to the next step when you get to the 3rd no and walk away. Now, I think the people that never call you back are more valuable than the people that call you back and you've been able to accelerate through the sales cycle, through the go, no go plan further, because those people would have continued on anyway. You've just acquired the quantitative value of acceleration that it happened faster. But the real value aligns in the consistent coherence of sticking to the 3-no rule, where now the people who were never going to do the deal that don't call you back are not only not wasting your time, emotion, value, and money, but are also protecting you from other people with the same vibration, frequency, or community. We are utilizing every aspect to help our efficiency, our effectiveness, and statistical success. Utilizing the 3-no rule will help not only you stop asking open-ended questions, but it will predetermine your success of closing, because you will either accelerate the go, no go plan by getting them to call you back quicker or to move to the next step quicker, or never having any contact with them again, which saves so much more time, emotion, value, and money, because most people spend 80% of their time on closed minds. And this isn't just professionally, it's personally. So I utilize, you know, these pragmatic tools to figure out, am I feeding those people that feed me? Am I feeding the people that want to say yes? Am I feeding the people that are never going to say yes? Using the great chain of feeding in the context of the 3-no rule will help either accelerate people to a yes or save you an enormous amount of time, emotion, value, and money by getting to a no quicker. I love the 3-no rule. Love the context in which you asked. Thank you so much. Jake, who's up next?
We've got Annette here on Clubhouse. Welcome, Annette. If you can please unmute yourself and feel free to ask your question.
Thanks very much, Jake. Thanks, David, and Glenn, of course. I'm tuning in from a very stormy England. But I've got 2 questions, David. One is, what are the tax implications in the future for NFTs and cryptocurrencies? As I think many people believe the tax man is oblivious to their online dealings. And also, what do you think of governments stalling people's bank accounts and crypto accounts because they don't believe in the way that the citizens of their country are spending what they perceive as their money? Thank you very much.
This is a great question because number one, if I knew exactly what would happen in the future, I would make billions of dollars. And to that end, I always say the only thing that's consistent is that change. So, I give all my billions if I could tell the future. But more importantly, study history. When we study history, especially through banking, currency, tax laws, et cetera, we start learning what's most important, which is human nature. And if you look at the consequences that are occurring around the world by a new form of currency that's democratized, a form of currency that's authenticated, a form of currency that's fractionalized. And we look throughout history and say, where in history have there been currencies that are democratized, fractionalized, and authenticated? How were the markets, the market makers, and the margins created? And what did the governments do when these new currencies came up? And how did they figure out controlling, manipulating, maximizing, whatever the human nature or intention of governments, bureaucracies utilize in this situation? So I think we don't have to look too far back to figure out what's going to happen human nature wise, what the government's going to try to do. I think we know what the citizens are going to try to do. And I think we're going to have solutions somewhere in the middle. That's been from my studies of history and human nature, what and how we can maximize the usage of crypto and NFTs and blockchain, because the idea of blockchains is to cut out the middleman, including the government. It's that simple. Don't confuse yourself. So there's a lot of benefits to citizens to cut out the middleman, and this is Web 1.0 gave us certain access, Web 2.0 gave us certain access, less and less middlemen. Now we're to Web 3.0, where we completely cut out all the fees, all the regulations, and still have the security of authentication with the convenience of fractionalization and democratization. And so understanding human nature of the need to have more, and understanding, manipulation, overselling, back and selling, lying, manipulating, and cheating that occurs within the context of currencies, you can figure out how best not only to take advantage of it, but to protect yourself as well. And so there's a great future in blockchain, NFTs, and crypto. And I am sure the intention of the government is to not only protect its citizens, but maximize, in good intention in their minds, maximize the amount of money that they take from the owners of NFTs in crypto, et cetera. So historically notated, study the history, learn the human nature, take advantage of it, and you will, as the third out there, will do extremely well in these places. The third will stay the same, and the third will get killed. And that's just the way of mindset, heart set, and handset. Thank you very much for the question. Jake, I'll take another one online. We got about 7 minutes, and then if you prepare our last person on Clubhouse, that'd be great.
You got it. Sounds great.
Awesome. I always like this question. What lesson has been the hardest to learn in your life? I can't decide between the need to be offended or coherence. And I'm going to choose coherence over the need to be offended, because I think coherence will help me learn the need, that I have to be offended at so many different things, and what a waste of energy, emotion, what a great interference it is from me and the truth and peace that I have, and love and light and lessons themselves. But I think coherence is the hardest lesson. Coherence is the ability to remember what I want to do and to do it. And I use gratitude as my biggest example. It bewilders me how I forget to say thank you. It bewilders me. I know it's free. I know it takes 0.1 seconds. I've created a 14-day gratitude challenge, which I'll give to everybody to help teach the hardest lesson to ever be learned, which is coherence, of remembering to say thank you and to actually say it. Remembering to be grateful, to live in gratitude, knowing full-heartedly that gratitude is the only common denominator of happiness. No matter how sick or well, rich or poor, tall or short you are, whatever religion or color you are, gratitude is the common denominator of happiness. But yet, the hardest lesson I have to learn is I can't remember to say it all the time, or think it all the time, or do it all the time, or believe it all the time, or feel it all the time. I don't. And I know it's free and it takes 0.1 seconds to think, say, do, and believe and feel. I don't know why. I don't know why coherence is so hard. I don't know why it's so hard to remember what's most important and do things according to what's most important. The non-negotiables of my health, the non-negotiables of my family, the non-negotiables of the activities I get paid for, all with gratitude being the superpower of that, and to be consistent with gratitude. I don't understand it. I have studied physics, metaphysics, and quantum physics. I can't understand why I can't remember to say thank you. I have been around the greatest thought leaders of the world, the Deepak Chopras, the Sadhgurus, the Jack Canfields, the Bob Proctors, rest in peace. All agree gratitude is the most powerful thing, but yet I can't even remember to do it every day. I sit here every day and teach it. I create challenges for it. I put it in my books, on my speeches, and my free trainings. Everything I do is around gratitude, but yet I'm a hypocrite. I can't remember how powerful it is, and I can't remember to do it. The hardest lesson to learn in life is coherence. The more that we can remember to do of what's important to us, not what's important to other people, what's missing or what you don't have, but what's important to us, and to actually do it, say it, think it, believe it, and feel it, my goodness, you will join the collective consciousness of luckiness, of happiness. You will make more money, help more people, and have more fun. Please help me learn this lesson. Please help yourself learn this lesson of coherence. Remember what's important to you and do it, say it, think it, believe it, and feel it. What a great question. Thank you so much. All right, Jake, we have time for one more person on Clubhouse. Who do we got?
Yes, let's do it, Dave. Let's take a question actually from TikTok. TikTok, there's a lot of people that are currently live, Dave. So the question is from John. I think it's super important for everybody. The question is, how do you realign after a professional misfire?
Well, first of all, I'm going to bring something that a lot of people don't bring into profession, and it's faith. I think it's the most important thing that's changed my professional career. Is I think it's an essential, no matter what religion, philosophy, spirituality you believe in, you have to believe in something that's bigger than you. You have to believe in something that's omniscient, all powerful, and all knowing. Whatever you call it, source, whatever you call it, Buddha, I don't care what you call it, God, Jesus, Muhammad, whatever you believe in. If you don't believe in something bigger than you, then all of these mistakes, failures, setbacks that occur in business, especially, are going to be punishment that will just create more interference, create and separate you farther from the potential you have. It will not fuel your desire. It will distract and drain you. It'll be a soul sucker of you. You not only, I believe, have to believe in something bigger than you in business, but also that which is bigger than you loves you more than your mom loves you or you love your children. I know this sounds woo-woo. I know it sounds spiritual. I know it sounds religious. I know it sounds, energetic or whatever it is. But I truly believe that there's so many setbacks, failures, and mistakes that if you don't believe in something bigger than you that loves you that much, then you're going to be punished for your entire business career. Because the only thing that's going to happen when we try is we learn. The indicator of learning is going to be pain, setbacks, failures, and mistakes. And if you don't have the perspective that there's something bigger than you protecting you and promoting you, then you're going to quit. And in business, the minute you quit, the minute you fail. The minute you fail, the minute you will lose. You will not make it. You will not expand, grow, and accelerate. You will work in a zero-sum world, not a value-add world. You will not live in the world of more than enough. You have to believe that you're being promoted and protected, that when pain, setbacks, and failures occur in your professional career, that it is just an indicator that you have a lesson to learn to put you in a better place, a better situation, even though you cannot even fathom how losing over $100 million is protecting you and promoting you. But it did me, and I'm living proof. And my faith is so huge, that which loves me, that knows everything and everyone, that I am encouraged when I have mistakes, failures, and setbacks, and I know that I'm being protected and promoted. And this carries me forward in business, personal, and spiritually. I suggest to take some time today. If you don't have that type of faith, then you're missing the common denominator of gratitude and the desire that you must be what you can be. It is 8 o'clock Pacific time on the dot. Thank you, everyone. It's been 22 years. Please email me, david@dmeltzer.com, for the exercises, books, the challenges, whatever you need, david@dmeltzer.com. Thank you on TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn, everywhere we are. Over 60,000 people registered for training this Friday. Keep it growing. Keep on believing. Thank you, everybody, so much. I'm going to turn it over. Jake, close out the room.
Let's do it. Thank you so much, everybody.